Okay, so welcome to the core session. What we're going to do is we're going to do 4 exercises and we're going to do 3 reps of each exercise. So we're going to go through a little circuit and we're going to do about 30 seconds on each. So the first one that we're going to do is a hover on all fours. So you just need to get your hands underneath your shoulders, knees underneath hips, and then curl your toes under at the back. And all we're going to do is engage in this core area and lift the knees about an inch, maybe less, off the floor. It doesn't really matter what you're aiming to do, it's just hold this position nice and stable. So you want to be looking down at the floor as well so that you're not compressing your spine at all. We're just going to hold that for 30, so I'm going to set my timer now if you lift off the floor, just looking down, engaging, making sure that you're breathing as well when you do this exercise. And it's actually a little bit harder than it looks when you get into it, so we just keep holding and breathing. If you need to drop your knees down and take a little rest, then you can do. That's totally fine. We've only got a few more seconds left. 5, 3, 2, 1, and then we're just going to drop down. Okay, so that's the first exercise. The next one, we're going to go into a plank position. So you can there's various ways of getting into a plank, depends how strong your core is. You could do a modified plank, so have your feet on the floor and your knees on the floor and your elbows on the floor, keeping your bottom down. And then we're just going to move backwards and forwards. Try and keep, your bum will go up in the air, but try and keep it as low as possible. Or you could lift your knees off the floor and move forwards and backwards, trying to keep that bum low. Or we can go into a full plank, lifting onto our hands and then moving forwards and backwards in that position. Keeping the body in a sort of fairly stable line. So choose which one you're going to do, and then I'm going to do 30 seconds. So I'm going to go into the full plank and move forwards and backwards on the toes. Just a kind of like soaring movement. Again, we're looking down at the floor so that we keep the spine nice and decompressed, so we're not curving through the spine. And we've got just under 10 seconds left. Keep breathing as well, remember. And then we're going to release. Okay, brilliant. So next exercise, we lie on our back. And this is an old yoga one that I used to do. It's called churning the mill. So we just, legs out straight in front of us, and we're going to lean back. Have our hands in a kind of, as if we've got a big spoon and we're going to stir a pot. But we're going to keep the arms straight. So have them over your knees and then lean back and then go out to the left. And we're going to rotate around in that direction and then we're going to go in the other direction. So it's as if we're stirring a big pot. You can go back as far as you feel comfortable. Try and keep the heels on the floor if you can. And then we're going to go round in the other direction. Try and make a really big circle with the hands, keeping the elbows straight. And breathing and then back to centre. Okay, and then the next exercise is another variation on the plank, so we're going to go back into that plank position. You could go in this plank position on the elbows. It might be a bit harder to move your knees in, but you can give it a go. Or we can go into a full plank and bring the knees in between the legs. So we're going to alternate knees in between the legs for 30 seconds. So into whichever plank position you want to, and just bring the knees alternately in between the arms and breathing. So you're about halfway through now, looking down at the ground so that we keep the spine elongated. And we've got 3, 2, 1, and release down. Okay, just between the sets, we're just going to push back and release the belly in between the legs, and you can even put your forehead on the floor if you want to. Just to relax there a little bit. So breathing really deep into the belly, letting it expand so that you release any tension there before we go to the next round. And we'll take one more breath and go on to the next round. Okay, so we're going to go into the hover off the floor. So we're just lifting those knees off. If you want to make this a bit more challenging, it is quite hard though. We can bring a shoulder tap in. So we tap the shoulders to the opposite, tap the hand to the opposite shoulder. Try not to rock from side to side too much. If that's too much, just hold the hover. And we're going to release down. Okay, and then we're going into that plank rock, so moving forwards and backwards in plank position. So go up into plank, and then move forwards and backwards. Remember, you can go on your elbows and move forwards and backwards, or you could drop your knees down if you wanted to as well. Try and keep the bum low, so we are engaging in the core. A few more seconds. Okay, and then we're going on to our churning of the middle. So legs out in front, clasping the hands together, and we're going to make that big circle with the hands. Go one way and then we'll alternate in a few seconds. And then round the other way. And the last one. Okay, and then the last exercise in this set is the plank, bringing the knees in towards the chest. So this might feel tough again this time around. So we're going into that plank position, bringing the knees in between the chest, between the arms. Spread your fingers out, make sure you're breathing, looking down at the floor. Only a few more seconds left. If you need to break and come back to it, you can do. And then releasing down onto the knees. Just take your knees nice and wide, push back, and we'll do that little release again. So breathing into the belly. We'll take 3 full breaths like this. And one more. Okay, brilliant. So we're going to do our last round now. So we're going to go into the hover and if you want to, you can shoulder tap. So just make sure your hands are in the right position underneath your shoulders, the knees are underneath your hips. If you need to adjust, you can do. If you want to bring in a shoulder tap, you can. But you don't need to. It's still a very strong exercise with that. And releasing just down to your knees. And then we're going to go into that plank rock again. So up into a plank position, whichever one you want, and we're moving forwards and backwards. So into your position, looking at the floor, so you keep some extension in the neck. If your calves are tight, this is actually quite nice to push your heel back and feel a little bit of stretch in the calves. And we've got a few more. Okay, releasing down. And then we're going to go into the churning the mill again. So keep the feet out in front. And we're just going to lean back and make those circles. Maybe go the other way around first this time, just to make your brain think a little bit. And then the opposite direction. We quite often go the same way. Whenever we do an exercise, we favour one side. So I quite like to bring an awareness of, okay, I'm going to try going whichever side I don't want to go, first of all. It just gets your brain working in a different way. Okay, so last exercise. We're going to go back into plank again. And we're going to bring the knees in between the hands. So just press up into that plank position. And bring the knees in between the hands. Keep breathing, looking down. This one seems to be feeling tough at the end of the session. Just under 10 seconds, pressing through the hands. You can break if you want to. Okay, and then releasing down, so taking the knees wide again. Pushing the bottom back. And just press into the hands at the front. Press into the fingertips so that you can push your hips back. Get your forehead on the floor. Now release the elbows down onto the mat or the ground, the carpet, wherever you are. And then just relax there for a few breaths. And then we'll take 3 deep breaths into the belly again. And one more. Okay, brilliant. Just walk your hands in. And then push yourself up to sit. Well done. Hopefully that was not too difficult. And if you can do that a couple of times a week, it's going to really make a difference to your core strength. So thank you for joining me, and I'll see you again soon.